Tell us a little bit about what you saw and being able to relay that message to Cora when you watched Kimbrel pitch and kind of help out so he wasn't tipping his pitches.
So tipping pitches, we hear about it all the time.
People at home understand what tipping pitches is all about.
It's amazing.
And that's remarkable.
This is not going how I thought it was going to go or wanted it to go.
Well, that's an interesting point. Why don't we just start right there?
All right, great.
So it's bottom of the 8th right now as we sit down to record. How about that for a cold open, Alexander Baisley? Yeah. Did the people know your middle initial? Did I just dox you?
That was kind of crazy work that you just did right there. But, we're recording. It's 11 p.m.
No, I'll bleep just the middle initial. That's the kind of production that you can expect at 11 p.m. on a Monday, bro. So you were feeling yourself rooting for the Mariners in this series.
I was, not only because we picked them on this here podcast to advance to the World Series.
Don't say we. I didn't pick shit. I didn't rig shit.
Wait, what do you mean?
I was pretty pro Blue Jays from the very beginning.
Okay,
you can't get bogged down in
this.
this. I've found myself rooting for the Blue Jays. I don't even know why, really. I'm technically from the Seattle area. I have a poster of Ken Griffey Jr. behind me right now. One of our close friends, Matthew Robertson, is one of the biggest Mariners fans I know. And yet still, out of something about the power of Ontario, you know? I see a future for myself there.
You saw that Ontario, Canada commercial with Ronald Reagan talking about.
You're doing all those letters were the right letters that you just said. Ontario, Canada with Ronald Reagan. Oh boy! All right. Well, we are literally recording this in the bottom of the 8th, 2 outs.
Correct.
4-3 Toronto Blue Jays. So we are going to react.
For me. What is it for you?
It's now 0-2.
Oh, it's 0-2 for me. Okay.
Always just one beat ahead of you. You keep up. Keep up. We're going to react to the end of this game in real time. Of course, we already have recorded the second half of this podcast, which will become very apparent to you when the second half of this podcast starts. And we do a very elaborate bit about how it was recorded before the first half. But before we do all that, I am Bobby Wagner.
I am Alex Baisley.
You are listening to Tipping Pitches. Thanks to this week's new patrons. I would read your names, but I'm too busy. I'm looking over here at Andres Munoz. He's got that nice gold chain hanging down.
Mm-hmm.
He looks really serious. I wish the best for him.
I'm being sold a FanDuel ad right now, but I went on to play right before this game.
Stop saying I'm getting tired of using the beep. The bleep.
That doesn't matter to me.
There should be some sort of retribution for breaking the rules.
We should have initiated some sort of penalty. Yes,
yeah, we really should have initiated. Okay, the inning's over. We go to the 9th with an opportunity for the Toronto Blue Jays to record 3 outs without giving up 1 run and advance to the World Series. I want to start by saying the George Springer home run was pandemonium that I can only describe as being similar to the 2015 Blue Jays run, which in many ways, for the purposes of this podcast, was the true beginning of our friendship. Did it remind you of that? Because that was one of the first things that came to my mind.
Ironically, it was not one of the first things that came to my mind, despite the pandemonium I was witnessing. Partially because I was
because you hate me?
No, it's because I hate Canada. No, partially because I was so disoriented by John Smoltz saying one of the great postseason hitters of our time, George Springer, which is true, but still on some deeper level does not track for me. I'm like, but it's just George. He's just the right fielder for the Astros. What do you mean?
That's a good question.
It's just George Springer.
Are the Astros guys the first guys who were minted as iconic postseason players who you have experienced from prospect all the way to postseason legend, like
Certainly
veteran postseason legend
that I have personally experienced. Yes.
Yeah.
And
I
a
guess
lot of them
maybe-
still carrying that title, honestly.
I kind of feel like we might be discrediting like Pujols. He kind of counts. He
does.
came up. We were old enough to remember when he came up ish, but not the same. We
Not
weren't doing like
Angels manager Albert Pujols to you.
not yet, brother. Wait, did he say that he wasn't going to do it?
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Oh no! Should we spend 15 minutes talking about
We
this
should,
right now?
yeah.
Through the final out
Another
of
Artie
the ALCS.
Moreno L.
Well, there's some Artie Moreno slander later in this podcast.
That's true.
It's a man that just understands the power of parking lots and federal bribery.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why fault him.
That's what Southern California was invented for, frankly.
Those two things,
Those
the
two
alpha and the
things,
omega
exactly.
of Southern California. Bribes and parking lots.
We're starting off the discussion of, I would argue, the more interesting of the two championship series. Certainly the longer, I think, factually. By talking about parking lots and corruption, the only way you and I can.
Well, I mean, whoever wins this series, and we're about to get the first pitch of the ninth right here. Whoever wins this series is heading to a place full of parking lots and corruption, the Los Angeles
Exactly.
Dodger Stadium.
Well, oh God.
Yeah, this is why they pay me the big bucks. And by they, I mean Artie Moreno. He has bribed me to not talk shit about the Angels. Do you want to wax poetic about the end of this series? Do you want to wax poetic about this series in general?
I think I will probably echo what I wouldn't know, but I'm going to guess is the take that many other folks are having, which is that this has been a good series of baseball against two good baseball teams. What I will say, actually, love a Game 7. You know what we don't get very many of these days? Fucking Game 7s.
Now, would you say those are the two best words in sports? Or
Actually,
I want to wait before you launch into what you're about to say. I want to really commend you for being able to do this show, like live reacting while the baseball game is ending, without having yet formulated your opinion by listening to Talkin' Baseball first, which is what you usually do before we sit down to record the podcast. And this is really big of you. I mean, you're making a huge sacrifice for the Tipic Pitches community today.
As I am. You were like, do you want to record before Talkin' Baseball comes out? And I was like, what do you mean? what are we going to talk about? Wow. John Boy slander back on the main feed during the episode preceding the World Series.
Back like it never left, dude.
Exactly.
Well, you were going to say something about the series and about Game 7.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I mean, this is the first Game 7 we've gotten this postseason. We didn't get any last year. We got a couple the year before, and then none in the 2 years prior. It's a dying art, you know? Teams just want to roll over these days.
Hoffman struck out Rivas. That's a huge hill to climb, and he did it. I mean, this postseason, Rivas has essentially been Mickey Mantle, so it's looking like...
I don't know why I try.
No, I'm trying to update people about the state of where we're at. This is supposed to be a live reaction. You're fine with it when I do it when it's a Mets game in June, but when I do it when it's ALCS Game 7, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Shut up, dude.
Dominic Canzone looks a lot like Michael Conforto, I just want to say.
I see it. Yeah, I see that. And that's what the cutting analysis
I did a triple take right there. You may have heard on the audio.
He popped it up. Out of play. I think that one thing that's been quite interesting and quite compelling about this series is that everybody's kind of playing pretty well. I think a lot of the other series in this postseason, one or both of the teams have just been quite poor.
Mm-hmm.
Just not good baseball.
Yeah.
I have been genuinely impressed and amazed by the performance, particularly the pitching on both of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's what the Mariners have been somewhat known for in this era for the last 5 years, the young pitchers that they have been able to develop. But even still, and narratively speaking, it's been quite satisfying. This Game 7 has been quite satisfying to see Rodriguez and Cal Raleigh both showing up when it mattered most. And yet still, the Blue Jays sit on top.
With a 2-2 count here with one out in the top of the
You should
ninth.
actually, I'm just going to clear out. You should just Vin Scully this one.
Okay. You're right. Apart from a kind of rough game last night on the part of the Seattle Mariners, in which they put up 3 errors and had 3 straight inning-ending double plays.
Oh, yeah. Well,
everyone has those days.
Let me let you in on a little secret about that. I was asleep before the game started.
Okay.
I missed that one.
So it didn't happen.
That one's on me.
If a playoff game happens and Bobby
Without
Wagner's
me
asleep
watching
to...
I had woken up at 4:45 a.m. to fly back to the great state of New York.
From
Portland,
Milwaukee.
Maine.
Oh.
From where I was on the ground reporting about Mark Attanasio's finances.
You landed in Portland, Maine. You were like, where's this National Guard they keep talking about? I don't see them anywhere.
Oy vey. Okay, 2 outs. Of course, it's down to Julio. A 1-0 count. Jeff Hoffman, what an interesting figure. A guy that basically was on 3 other teams before landing on the Blue Jays, and he failed all of his physicals.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to this.
That's Colorado Rocky Jeff Hoffman to you.
He made it out in the biggest of ways. He's in Toronto. What could be better than this?
Oh, my God. This is, I'm sure, scintillating podcast.
Do you see
Podcasting
these guys
for our listeners?
Do you see these
What?
guys behind home plate that were wearing shirts that say "Ciao Seattle" and "Seattle LOL"? I don't love that.
So this has been a theme. I think
like meme shirts.
yes, correct. Like shirts with just like a very straightforward text on it to elicit a reaction. I'm sure you saw the Cal Raleigh shirt.
I did see that.
Okay.
But
This
I
is
don't know
only
that
the
was
second
straightforward text. That was sort of a visual situation.
All right, fair.
Crowd's going wild.
Do you have the audio on?
No, but I see them jumping up and down.
Okay.
I can't have the audio on because we don't have express written consent from Major League Baseball to be to rebroadcast this.
Oh boy.
Oh man, you were a split second ahead of me.
That's right.
Wow.
No, I just reacted the pitch before because I wanted to be a part of something.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to send the link to Steve and just see what happens. Just going to send it to him and see what happens. The Toronto Blue Jays are American League champions for the first time in 32 years. Back to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
The Seattle Mariners, truly as close as close gets.
That's really heartbreaking.
It is. And I feel for them. I feel for Julio, who struck out on just a wicked Hoffman slider to end the game. I mean, how do you take that on 3-2? You just can't. That's just a nasty pitch. Boy.
Really, yeah. I mean, really a series that delivered, I think, on all fronts. You had the stars showing up. You had a lot of role players showing up as well. The Ernie Clements, Bargers, the trade line acquisitions and Bieber.
Trade
and,
line.
And the
Not
trade
even the deadline.
The
It's just the trade line.
Come on, we're tight on time here.
We're in journalist shorthand mode right now.
The trade deadline pickups of Bieber and Naylor. I don't know. It just
I feel simultaneously thrilled for the Blue Jays and just very sad for the Mariners.
yeah. First game 7 for the Mariners ever.
Oh,
Which is kind of insane thing to think about, and is a testament to the fact that like we have not seen them here this often. This feels like a team that did not arrive here on a fluke. That clearly has something to show for itself, and maybe has more to give. So, to all our Mariners fans, we did not. I want full transparency. We did not give this due to the Brewers that you'll hear in about 25 minutes.
I mean, respectfully, did they earn it?
No, they didn't.
I wouldn't go so far as to say like this. Wow, Springer just said, "I'm so happy for our team, our fans, our city, our country."
Wow,
he's really drawing some lines in the sand here.
He said Canada first.
Wow, good for him. I'm happy. He left off one person that I'm really happy for as well, and that's Justin Trudeau. And maybe one other was a Katy Perry.
Do you think Justin Trudeau is in Canada right now?
I have no idea. There's probably a TMZ
Well,
link.
I mean,
that
you
will
have
let
your
know.
you have your Trudeau tracker on, right? The flight tracker.
He's on Find My Friends.
A quick Twitter search does not turn up where Justin Trudeau is, which is really unfortunate.
Okay. I feel bad for the Mariners. Our
Yeah.
Mariners fans
Yeah.
listening, my heart goes out to you, truly. That was a hell of a series, but it cannot feel good. I sent Steve the link. He said, tomorrow.
That's about what I would say as well. If my team had just won.
Let's talk about the Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
Last in the AL East in 2024. A franchise that felt a little bit post-hype, felt a little bit directionless. They seemed young and fun 4 years ago, and then there was a little bit of Vlad skepticism, which has since waned, and I think he has become the superstar that we expected. There was some bumps in the road in terms of the pitching that they acquired, which they have ironed out. There were some questions about the depth of the lineup, about who would even stick around. How much does Rogers really want to be in the business of giving hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to young baseball players instead of jacking up people's telecom rates in Canada? That was a question we were asking ourselves 1 year ago at this time. And the answer, it turned out, was, well, Rogers still wants to make their profit. However, we're willing to build a good baseball team. We're willing to stick it out and not dump George Springer's contract. We are willing to sign Vlad to the extension that everyone agrees he deserves, that he seems to want to stay here, and that the organization and fandom really feels like they need to continue to have buy-in in this organization. I know some Blue Jays fans who were like, if they don't sign Vlad and they trade him, I might be out for a couple of years. And now less than 12 months later, they are headed to the World Series. I don't think that they would have been in the top 5 teams I would have picked to make the World Series this year from the American League. But was I just missing something?
No, I think that there was a little bit of, at least from my view, there was a sense of this feels very similar to the team that was here a year ago, that was here 2 years ago, in terms of their centerpieces, right? And I know they made some really key additions. We mentioned Bieber, Scherzer as well. But I don't know, it felt like an open question for me on whether or not they were actually going to be able to deliver on that. But I don't know. At the end of the day, like, they came through when it mattered. Their rookies really showed up. Trey Savage did everything that he needed to do. Right. Again, this is a team that has star power and also has depth, which I think maybe was a little bit surprising to me and may have been surprising to other people. But when you see someone like Bo Bichette go down, you think this hurts their offensive prowess. All right, well.
No, I thought Mets legend Andres Jimenez was about to
Yes,
step up.
I know you did. You said he's going to lay down a nasty bunt here in Game 7.
I thought some run away from the sound of Bo Bichette going down.
Right, okay,
and Andres Jimenez runs towards the sound of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, these were two really powerful teams on both sides of the ball. Like, ultimately, one of them had to win. You know,
that's an alt that you can't deny that.
You can't deny that at the end of the day, someone was going to come out on top.
That kind of take is the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, 2 great teams, one of them had to win. And that in this case, it's actually right. The Blue Jays combined, they were like an evolution on the long ball, home run heavy offense that we saw from them in a previous era. You know, like when Steve was on a couple weeks ago, he was talking about the hype and the excitement of the 2014 to 2018 era, when it was like Jose Bautista's hitting 50 home runs. Edwin Encarnacion is hitting in the 40 home runs. And it's really just like, we're here to mash. I think this team has enough pop to break a game open between Springer and Vlad, and enough lineup depth, all the way down to the Addison Bargers at the bottom of the lineup. Ernie Clement was out of his mind for the last 2 weeks. To just wear down a team over the course of 7 innings, when you don't give away that many outs, it can be hard in this era of baseball where you rely so much on striking guys out to make outs. And this team, I believe, led the league in strikeout rate. Like, they had the fewest strikeouts as a team. And we don't always see that translate to offensive success in the postseason, but when you have a nice balanced blend of guys who refuse to go down easily, guys who draw counts out longer than you would expect, and kind of game-breaking power, as we saw with Springer breaking this game open. I mean, it fits narratively for me to highlight that, but that can be the antidote to the Mariners, who surely had good enough pitching to make it to the World Series. Like, surely could have and should have been in the World Series, if not for a couple things breaking in the other way.
I completely agree. Also, I just want to say that the nicely tanned man on my screen that I saw just a minute ago, I think deserves his own ESPN special. I don't know his name. I just wanted to shout him out.
It's an HBO special, but yeah, I agree.
It's just an HBO special. Mm-hmm.
Do you want to spend a couple minutes talking about our content plan for the Alex Rodriguez documentary series?
Yeah, what's our plan? Instant reactions, it sounds like.
I feel as though the move here is live broadcast on Patreon. like, I think that we should treat this, like the way some of your content icons go about, like Aiden Ross. Who are some other ones? You would love iShowSpeed.
Right. Uh-huh.
You like his in-depth analysis. I don't know. Oh, I know that one. He's the one who wouldn't stream for a little while because he was worried that his Twitch viewers were all bots, and then they got rid of the bots, and then he didn't stream for like 3 weeks.
I don't know. 2 millennials try and talk about streamers.
Yeah. The whole streaming world eludes me, but we're about to join it for the A-Rod doc. So get ready. Strap in.
I'm so excited for this. Sorry, I'm not so like hard pivot off of the World Series matchup that we're witnessing come together right now.
I gave this impassioned defense of the lineup construction of the Toronto Blue Jays, and you were just like, there's A-Rod on my screen. Look at him. There he is.
Correct. Absolutely correct. You're right. The Blue Jays offense is amazing. That's why they're going to the World Series. And look, I've been saying it all along. Blue Jays offense combined with that pitching staff, boy, they're meant for something. I didn't say it here on the pod, but Bobby, I've been talking to everyone nonstop since the beginning of the year.
Can I say something as we pivot to sort of previewing what it's going to be like to watch the Blue Jays face the Dodgers?
Of course.
I feel a little too powerful right now.
Okay.
Every series went the way that I wanted it to, except the Padres first round series. Like every other series, the team that I was rooting for won.
Yeah.
So I feel as though my services are for sale here. So Blue Jays fans, Dodgers fans, get in touch. We could talk about what I might need from you for me to bless your team with the divine providence that God has given me. I mean, Blue Jays Dodgers, if you would have told me in March, like Blue Jays Dodgers is the World Series matchups, the Mets don't make the playoffs, I would have been like, that's all right. I take that deal. Let's punt it to next year, run it back, boys.
Do you think Ross Atkins is saying, really the players are the ones who brought us here and they deserve all the glory?
What
is he, the GM?
Ross Atkins?
Yeah. Or did you turn your TV off?
Yeah.
Oh, so lame. You're telling me you have the chance to watch a muted Tom Verducci hold a microphone up to someone and you opted against it?
I like how you're talking about like the Blue Jays number 2 in charge on baseball ops. Like,
sorry, he was the one with the mic. I don't know what to tell you.
The whole like live reaction thing ended. Like we saw the end of the game. Like you don't need to be recapping the post game.
You just talked about how we're gonna do apparently 4 live streams. I need to get into the rhythm a little bit.
Okay, well,
I need to start reacting to the world around me a little bit more. I've been very passive as of late.
is that right? Do you want to talk more about that?
Let's dialogue offline. That's fine.
Well, async.
Well, async. um, World Series. Should we talk about it? What's in store? Do
I
you want
think we should just keep it moving.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Blue Jays Dodgers. What do you think? How do you think it's gonna go?
I mean,
You could be a truth teller here. It's okay. Steve's not listening.
I don't think the Dodgers have given us any reason to believe that they're not the overwhelming favorites in this series, right? Like,
No,
like even outside of stomping all over the Blue Jays, this is sort of what I said. Like coming into this postseason is like,
You mean stomping all over the Brewers?
what did I say? The Blue Jays?
Yeah.
This is,
I'm just making sure you're not a time traveler sent back to let us know what's going to happen in this series.
look, I should have been in bed 15 minutes ago. It's fine. We're doing great. Even outside of that, this is still the same team that won a World Series last year, still put together a really solid season this year, even when they were performing poorly. Like, I just lean Dodgers just because of sort of what I've seen, especially in this postseason. I think the Blue Jays will give them a run for their money, for sure. But getting through the Dodgers starting rotation is going to be tough, and frankly, I think it is going to be interesting to sort of see the Dodgers staff come up against what is a really, really hot Blue Jays lineup.
Yeah. I think that the Blue Jays have a better shot than it appears on paper.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
In the same way that the Blue Jays kind of wore down Mariners pitching and got to see guys enough times, got to see Bastardo enough times that, we can get to him a little bit in the later innings here and win this series. Got to push George Kirby out of the game because they had shown Seattle's brain trust that they can get to George Kirby, so we're not going to let him continue to face high leverage opportunities third time through the order. Like, just broke their confidence a little bit. I think that it's possible. I can close my eyes and envision a scenario in which Vlad hits a 3-run tank dead center off Yamamoto and knocks him out of the game in the 4th inning, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, but now then you open your eyes and it's the 7th inning and he's only given up 2 hits.
Right, but what I'm saying, I can see that.
Yes, I know.
And I think that in another 7-game series, in which I don't anticipate the Blue Jays to roll over and get swept like the Brewers did, in which I don't anticipate the Blue Jays to necessarily like shit themselves on live television like the Philadelphia Phillies did a couple times in that series.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a possibility that what we talk about later in this podcast, which is the biggest weakness of this Dodgers team, which is that they only have 3 relievers that they trust, like 3.2 relievers that they trust, really, or like 2.5 relievers, I guess, because Blake Trinan, like, you never know if he's thinking about or whatever out there on the mound. Like,
wow, so you can say it.
It's bleeped. It's getting bleeped. It's getting, just so you know, it's getting bleeped. But I think there's a chance that they push this series long enough that the Dodgers become mortal because of that one Achilles heel. I would say that I don't feel comfortable marking it more than like a 55-45 advantage for the Dodgers. Maybe 60-40. They are going to be the overwhelming favorite, both narratively and I think probably from Las Vegas. You want to talk odds? You want to predict the odds?
Oh, yeah.
I know you do.
Oh, I do.
I think it's a pretty close series. I think they match up quite well. I know that's boring analysis. 2 good teams here, boys. October 20th.
One of them's got to win.
John Schneider and Dave Roberts are kind of spiritually connected managers.
Yeah. Yes.
Like guys who definitely command respect in the room. Former players. What are you looking at me for? What's that face for?
No, yeah, that's no face.
All right, fine. I'll keep going then. Guys who will command respect in the room, former players, analytically sound, clearly in lockstep with their front office, the way that they choose to manage, however, sometimes just appear to be making baffling decisions with the pitching changes. Like
Exactly.
just totally out of left field. No idea. What are you thinking, bro? You're just, what is going on? What are you cooking right here? And then it works out.
To be fair, I think we would have gotten that regardless of who won this ALCS because Dan Wilson had a couple questionable bullpen managerial moves of his own, I would say.
As far as
in
I'm
this
concerned,
series.
he's beyond reproach. Incredible mustache.
Okay, all right.
Incredible. Got nothing bad to say about him. Nice work, Dan. He's got the look.
Blue Jays defense also really showed up this series, and I think again, like this is. Look, Bobby. This is a game that's going to be won on the edges. You know, it's all about the intangibles. It's about who is going to be able to see the ball into their glove the best. It's going to be about who can see the ball and hit the ball the most. And at the end of the day, the one with more runs is going to win. And there's just no two ways about it. If you score more runs, you're going to win, and if you don't, you're not going to have a fighting chance. You're going to have a snowball's chance in hell, I might say.
What you were doing right there was just absolutely phenomenal work. I mean, I was rendered speechless, maybe for the first time in my life. As listeners of this podcast know, I never shut up, but that was just something. I mean, you missed one of my favorites in there, though.
What's that?
One pitch at a time.
Oh, fuck. One pitch at a time.
I mean, in a game like Game 1 of the World Series, there's no better time than to go one pitch at a time.
No, you got to hit the reset button, right? on everything.
You just got to go with the pitch.
I would say
whichever team is more likely to go with the pitch, that's the team that I think is going to pull it out.
I think it's the team that approaches every game like it's opening day. Frankly.
No, because that did not work out for Nick Castellanos this year.
Okay, all right. Approach every game like it's week 2 of the regular season.
Are you compelled by the Ohtani Bowl narrative? Like, here's the team that Ohtani was always going to sign with, it seemed like, versus here's the team that Ohtani allegedly used as a negotiation tactic.
No, had not heard that framing until you brought it up right now, and I'm still not compelled by it.
All right, fire.
Oh, here's the team that was mentioned in one tweet when Ohtani
I guess you're
almost
just so
signed
offline
2
now.
years
you don't
ago.
see these batshit psychotic narratives that get thrown out there. Someone's got to do it.
I know it's
Listen,
true.
You run away from the sounds
Stop doing this.
of bot-driven Twitter threads, and I run towards them. Stop doing what? The podcast? Are we done? Are we done already? I mean, what? It's only 11:25.
Thank you to our sponsors in the United States Marine Corps.
I actually don't think that legally you're allowed to say that. Like, I don't think that you could joke about that because
like we could be disparaging them and somewhat like it could be whatever slander or libelous.
No, because I think that this will like go live on platforms and like the transcript will be out there and implying that we got money from the DOT. No, actually, the funnier joke would have been for me to say, because I signed that thing that Pete Hegseth sent around to all of the Pentagon reporters saying that we weren't allowed to snoop around the hallways or say anything mean about the Army. Yes, I did it. I broke him. I broke Alex.
It's over.
I broke him. All right, final pick. Dodgers or Blue Jays, and in how many games?
I'm gonna go Dodgers in 7. You know what? I think Blue Jays push them to the brink. You sold me.
Oh, okay, great. All right.
Yeah.
That was the
power.
What
were you about to say?
I was going to say you don't have the courage of your own convictions.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were going to do Dodgers in 6, which is what everybody always does. The team that they think is going to win, and they pick them in 6.
Do it in 6. Yeah.
Because no one has the guts to pick a team in 5, and no one has the guts to pick a team in 4. It's just ridiculous. But you hit me with a civil discourse changed your heart and mind.
Exactly.
What can I say to that besides it's a beautiful example of what it means to be an American?
To the facts.
You sat your ass down
I reached across the aisle and I said, I can change.
You know what? I think I'm going to pick Blue Jays in 7.
Nice. Okay.
Let's go Jays. You know, why not? Why not us? Why not
Right,
us?
yeah. And what do you mean by that? Us.
I mean, John Schneider's boys.
Oh, okay. Do you consider yourself kind of part and parcel with that squad?
Like an honorary Canadian?
Yeah, well, you said us.
I've been defending the Blue Jays all October. Even against the narrative of, the Mariners have never made it to the World Series. Compelling narrative, I'll admit. And I thought, I won't be swayed. This is like in 2017 when I was rooting for the Astros. You remember that?
No, I blacked that out entirely.
I was like, these seem kind of likable. I don't know why everybody's rooting for the Dodgers. Boy, I was wrong. And then in 2019, I was forced to root for the Astros because my team, one of my team's fake rivals was playing against them.
Yeah.
And then in 2022, I was once again, 2021 and 2022, I was forced to root for the Astros.
Really
the Braves and Phillies.
Fascinating sequence of coincidences that year after year you're forced.
And now here I am in the year of our Lord, 2025. That's one of my least favorite internet speak things. We're in the year of our Lord, 2025. Stop. Here I am in the year 2025, rooting for George Springer again.
I know.
I do think I want the Blue Jays to win because, as we're going to talk about coming up in just one short minute, if the Dodgers win, baseball is over.
That's true. It's true.
Any final thoughts to preview the World Series before we go to talk about, again, we pre-recorded the part about the National League, as well as just some overarching thoughts about the narratives that have come out of the Dodgers cakewalking their way through the National League playoffs so far. Any other final thoughts? Do you feel we've done good work today?
I feel like we have done work. Yes.
Do you feel proud that we're going to be the first podcast on the internet? The first baseball podcast on the internet post Game 7? Because I'm about to churn this in.
I know you are. I know it's already half edited. We famously are the first podcast on the internet.
Right.
Ever.
It goes us, Mark Maron, Bill Simmons.
Right.
Just like him, this podcast is going up on Netflix. It's exclusive. So if you're listening, thanks for watching. And if you're watching, thanks for listening. And let's go talk about the Dodgers. All right, Alex, you ready to talk about the Dodgers? Are you ready to talk about the Dodgers with the knowledge of what just happened in ALCS Game 7? Because that is totally what is happening right now. Like, this segment is totally not being recorded 40 minutes before ALCS Game 7 starts.
I thought what you were doing a really elaborate bit.
Is keep in mind, we fully know what just happened in ALCS.
Yes,
Game
we
7.
do. We know what happened. It was mind blowing, right? Not how I thought it was going to go.
I couldn't even believe it. And when Rosenthal ran on the field and stripped naked and started doing the worm, I thought it was a weird move, but you loved it.
I did.
Did we just confuse everyone listening?
You confused me.
No.
I was like, do I have to?
It doesn't take
now
much to
game
confuse you
theory
these
out
days.
In my head. I know it doesn't. I know.
If a tree falls if a podcast is recorded before an event happens, is it still reality?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it a liminal space? Is this podcast being recorded in a liminal space where we don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to come out in a world that does?
Okay. Reverse scenario for you. If an event happens and it's not podcasted about, did it really happen?
I think definitively at this state of culture, no. I think no.
It didn't.
It didn't happen.
We're reading tweets here on Tipping Pitches. We're reading New York Times headlines for you.
I'm not reading New York Times headlines because I haven't paid the subscription.
That's true.
I don't pay for the subscription, so I'm not.
Boy, the Dodgers got another thing coming for them.
with the team that they're gonna face. Stop. This is not a funny bit
AL
anymore.
Side. All right.
Because people just listen to like 45 minutes of us actually talking about who won. So now this is just a really elaborate bit just for you and me. All right, the Dodgers, as promised.
That's the conceit of the podcast. The Dodgers, as
promised. Look, I have some thoughts. Maybe everybody knew I was going to have some strong opinions.
You always do.
Before I share my overarching and really, really sophisticated opinion about what this means for the state of baseball.
Yeah.
Do you just want to talk about the games a little bit? You want to talk about any of the games? Anything that went on in the games between the Dodgers and the Brewers?
Let's talk baseball. We're in our bag this month.
Turns out the Dodgers are better than the Brewers.
Turns out the Dodgers are the best baseball team to ever grace the face of this earth.
It's not enough for the Dodgers to just make it back to the World Series, but to sweep the team with the best record in baseball it's like more than a cherry on top. It's like a hamburger on top, like it's a little bit obvious.
Explaining sports to an American explaining sports. Imagine a hamburger
on top of a sundae. They smoked them, bro. They smoked them.
Not even the Brewers did not score more than one run in any single game.
I asked you this question.
Not great.
Maybe it was on the Patreon. It could have been on the main feed. I can't remember at this point in life. Half of our lives are recorded for people to hear. I asked you that on whatever episode that we were doing, is it good pitching or bad offense?
Mm-hmm.
In the case of the Brewers, what do you think?
It feels like a cop-out to say both. That being said, I think the Dodgers...
It is a cop-out. You're on the clock now.
Okay.
Mr. Mamdani, do you commit to denouncing Hamas and telling them to lay down their weapons?
No, but I will denounce Hassan Piker. That's for sure. That's the only given here. I mean, if it's breaking one way, it's breaking bad offense. I mean, this Brewers offense was abysmal. I mean, we knew what the Dodgers pitching staff was coming in. I think there's an argument to be made that at least the first, their playoff rotation is the best in baseball between Yamamoto and Snell and Glasnow and a little guy, a little dude named Shohei Ohtani, who goes out there and gives it his best effort as well every 5 days. So, we knew what they were coming in to this series, but the Brewers posted a historically bad offensive performance in this series. I think they had 16 at-bats with runners in scoring position, of which the Dodgers had twice as many opportunities. You're just not going to win those at the end of the day if you're not putting yourself in positions to win. And we talked about this coming into the series. The Brewers were put the ball in play, allow chaos to ensue, station to station, a little small ball, a little playing baseball the right way, Turns out it's the wrong way. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. The Dodgers don't beat themselves. You got to come and take it from them. I know that's this is your traditional, I sound very sports talk radio-y, but actually, genuinely, we saw this narrative unfold with the Yankees last year where the Yankees gave the Dodgers extra outs. The Dodgers took advantage of that. It's not so much that the Brewers gave the Dodgers extra outs. It's just that the Dodgers gave nothing in return. And the Brewers clearly nothing in the lineup was intimidating enough to particularly back Snell off of his game plan. He was just going to come out there and do exactly what the scouting report said. And there was no fear in the Dodgers in the way that they played. It genuinely makes me wonder for the first time in quite a while, whether or not the Dodgers are a baseball team that can actually just turn it on when the postseason starts. Because this is not what they looked like during the regular season.
Right.
They looked lackluster for long stretches at a time. I mean, they had quite a few injuries to contend with. So now getting a lot of those guys back and getting them seemingly quite healthy has really made them look like a different team than they did for certain months of the season. But they weren't world beaters. They didn't have the best record in the National League. They didn't have the best run differential in the National League. I mean, I think that the projection system still liked them based off past performance and off of the roster, of course, and the pundits as well. But I sat here like a week ago or 2 weeks ago or whatever, and I was like, the Phillies are going to steamroll them. And I really thought it. I mean, I wasn't trying to bullshit.
Right, that's what the evidence showed us.
I know, and I was being so effusive about it because I wanted to reverse jinx the Phillies and hoped that would happen, and I'm happy that it did. But I really did not think that the Dodgers were just going to pants every team on the way to the World Series. I didn't think that.
No, it did sort of feel like, frankly, not to do like narrative ball or boil things down to one moment. But in game one, when the Brewers had the bases loaded, Bryce Terang jumps out of the way of a hit by pitch and then kind of immediately realizes sort of what he's done. You can sort of see that he maybe regrets not jumping out of the way, but jumps out of the way of getting hit by a pitch that would have scored a run, that would have tied the game. Instead, he goes on to strike out, and the Brewers lose that game. And it felt very emblematic, right? Of like, if you're going to take anything from this series, it's going to be on the margins. It's going to be not that one of their starters had an off day and gave up 8 runs to you, handed this to you. It's going to be you grinding out every single at bat. It's going to be you taking advantage when they do make those small mistakes. And I don't know, time and time again, the Brewers just proved they weren't capable of doing that. No discredit to them. They were a very good baseball team throughout the year.
But that's kind of all they were, was just good.
Yeah, I know. And frankly, I think if we're talking reverse jinxes, Pat Murphy coming out before the game and doing the we're just small beans. We're just little boys over here. The Dodgers couldn't name anyone on a roster. We're just your average Joes. Bad mojo. You're in the NLCS. You don't get to be like, yeah, we got a team of nobodies here. You had the best record in baseball. I think that maybe did not portend well for the Brewers' chances, if we're talking cosmic fate here a little bit.
Here's the story of the series to me. The weakest part of the Dodgers team is their bullpen depth. The Brewers did not get to the bullpen. They didn't get to the bad pitchers. Nope. They did not get the starters out early enough to face anyone besides Roki Sasaki, Blake Trinan, who, by the way, has been god-awful all year and almost gave away game 1, but still somehow had managed to give up, I think, like no runs during the series.
Yeah.
Anthony Bonda and Alex Vesia. Those are the only pitchers other than the starters that they faced. Snell went 8. Yamamoto went complete game. Glasnow went 5 2/3, which for him is like 12 innings. Right. And Ohtani went 6, scoreless, and handed it to those guys, to Vesia, to Trinan, and to Sasaki.
Sasaki also famously not even a reliever. Not a bad reliever, not a good reliever, just period. Like, just a really good starting pitcher,
Well, wasn't always a really good starting pitcher this year, but they have clearly figured out whatever mechanical thing and whatever injury was giving him trouble, and he has been amazing in the role that he has fulfilled in this postseason. And, in the extra innings game in the NLDS.
Yeah, his 3 perfect innings against the Phillies.
Having that in your back pocket, knowing that you can ask for a little bit more of him because he's more of a starter than a reliever, even though he has been used only as a reliever basically since he came back, is an incredible antidote to what has been a lackluster bullpen, especially given all of the injuries that they have faced. I mean, they tried to roll out Kershaw in a previous round, and look how that went. So, yeah, they look pretty unbeatable. We'll see. We'll see when it rolls around and they face team that we know of. We know what team.
The big bats on the other side.
Right. Yeah, but also a lot of big arms.
That's true. Lots of live arms, frankly, going to be on the other side of the diamond from them.
Right, but a deep lineup on the other side as well.
Yeah, no easy outs there.
Okay, can I do my big swing?
Yes, do your narrative. Take? Let's go.
Can I read you? I'm going to read you a post from X, the Everything app. 12:35 p.m. Eastern on October 13th, headed into the National League Championship Series. ESPN's Jeff Passan tweets, "The NLCS begins tonight, and it could have a profound effect on whether baseball is played in 2027. Free at ESPN, why Milwaukee versus Los Angeles is a proxy for the game's greater labor battle, and how the result will be used as a cudgel in the fight ahead.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
Okay. I think there's a lot of good analysis about the series that eventually did unfold. A lot of reasonable reading of the tea leaves about how the world would have and then now is reacting to the Dodgers steamrolling the Brewers and looking like they are in a different league. Set aside the fact that the Dodgers still have to play the World Series against that team that we're really familiar with and that we're like, yo, this is a team. And set aside the fact that 4 games of baseball is not really determinative of all of that much. If you set aside those things, isn't framing it like this part of the problem? Like,
Right.
isn't
Or,
framing
like, isn't it creating the narrative?
correct? Isn't it giving people more ammo with which to execute their bad faith arguments about the state of the game? Because here's the thing. We spent all year being chastised by the ESPNs of the world for not giving Milwaukee enough credit. When Sunday Night Baseball would roll around and Milwaukee would be featured, or when a national broadcast would have Milwaukee on them, they'd always be like, they're not the Dodgers, they're not the Yankees, but you know what they have? They have spunk, and they're just as good, and they're just as talented. And then when it turned out they weren't, now we're hearing the other side of the narrative ball. Now we're playing the convenient, actually, this is justifying the impending lockout that the owners are going to use.
Well, this is the mismatch in baseball these days. You know, this is what every owner has to deal with.
And it's accepting the narrative that what the Dodgers have done is quote unquote unfair. And that the impending lockout will be to try to undo the unfair advantages that the Dodgers have. When we know that's not what the lockout is about at all, and that the competitive advantages that the Dodgers have developed over the last decade will not be nullified by the salary cap. Because I'll tell you one thing, I'm sitting home as a Mets fan thinking, hey, you know who's the only team who had a bigger payroll than the Dodgers this year? It's my guys who went home 3 weeks ago. So those advantages that the Dodgers are exploiting, for example, deferred payments, which is what everyone has been talking about all year, but especially in the last 3 days or so because of the Ohtani performance in Game 4, and because dumb people on the internet being like, and the Dodgers are only paying him $2 million, which is not actually what they have to take the hit on the competitive balance tax as. Any team could do that. Any team could defer money. Any team could pay to get an Ohtani. And Ohtani went to the Dodgers because of other things. Ohtani went to the Dodgers because maybe he wanted to live in Los Angeles, but guess what? He gave the Angels a shot first. Ohtani went to the Dodgers.
I was thinking about that all of Game 4. I just want to be very clear. This man spent 6 years on the Angels. I'm not trying to detour you.
Ohtani is the perfect example of why a small market team could actually get lucky.
Yes.
And luck their way into a star who should be making way more money, and yet still, the ownership group with their small market mentality and not wanting to pay the luxury tax, which they've never done and went to great lengths to never do, fucked it up anyway. So whose fault is it? When we get a salary cap, is Bob Nutting going to be like, time to ball out on Juan Soto? He's coming home, boys. Paul Skeens, you're retiring in Pittsburgh. Is that what's going to happen? Are the Dodgers going to have to trade away all their players? Are the Dodgers going to have to end their farm system?
Yeah. Well, they're not allowed to develop players anymore, right? That's, I think, the assumption is that everyone's going to be on a level playing field. It's just so bizarre to me because I don't know what people are assuming the right answer is. Like, is it that every team has the same payroll? Is it just that there's an upper limit where teams that go beyond this, it's unfair? You can have a little bit of disparity between teams, just not a lot of disparity between teams. I'm like, they're still approaching things the same way. John Fisher is still approaching putting an A's team together with a poverty mindset. Like, just because you see that the teams at the top are spending a little bit less money, which I want to be clear, if it's a salary cap, they're going to be spending a little bit less money, right? We're not saying, all right, everyone's got 150 million.
No, but
and
I
that's
think,
it.
Yo, somebody,
But that is the conception that I think a lot of people have about a salary cap.
Somebody resurfaced because people were arguing about the Dodgers on the internet in arguments that we weren't even involved in. And somebody resurfaced our conversation with Bauman from the State of Labor in Baseball, which happened in January of this year. And Bauman nailed it. I hate when he's right, but when he's right, he's right. He nailed it. He was like, people think that when there's a salary cap, it's going to be a bunch of teams spending about 180 million and a bunch of other teams spending 90% of that.
Right.
If you look at the payroll of most of the teams that are the problematic teams, that are the real competitive at a real competitive disadvantage, they're like so far below 90% of $180 million, which, by the way, is $162 million. Are the Marlins spending $162 million? Never mind that. Are the Brewers spending $162 million? If they want to compete with the Dodgers, are the Brewers going to spend $162 million to do it? And do you think that will help? Like, do you really think that will help? From the series that you just watched, does, I don't know, forcing the Brewers to, in their mind, waste $90 million more a year make them that much better of a baseball team? They're building the team the way that they want to build the team. There's more money there to do more if they wanted to, and they don't want to. So I fail to see how that makes them a better team. And I fail to see how it gets them more money for it to be fair.
Well, like, I saw someone sharing a chart this week, right? And it was like every baseball team with every team's payroll. And then,
yeah, I've seen this chart too. I'm not sure that
and
this
then
chart
how
is
much,
real.
I don't know that the chart is real or factual or whatever. Broad strokes, right? It was like, there are teams paying a lot, and here's how much revenue they're bringing in, and here's how much their payroll is as a percentage of their revenue. And the thing is, the teams at the top were the ones with the highest payrolls, but they were also the ones with the highest percentage of their revenue that they're bringing in that they're actually putting back into the team. And this is something that Dave Roberts alluded to, right? When I don't know if this was when the team won, because I know he had the whole thing, but he was like, let's go ruin baseball again. But I think it was maybe in a press conference or something when people asked him, like, you guys are ruining baseball. What do you think about that? Right. And he's like, look, I'm not going to opine on how other teams put their rosters together, but like, this is what you want. Is it not? You want your ownership to be investing the money that they are making back into the baseball team and having it bear dividends on the field. And he's absolutely right. Like, I'm sorry. Once you've exhausted that option, once you've gone to your owner and said, can you please spend more money? And he's told you, no, I'm making too much for myself. Fine. If you want to call for a salary cap then and say, look, I've tried my, but I think a lot of people are like, well, you know what? My owner is trying. And these other guys, they're out of control. We got to rein them in. Is your owner trying? Really? Is he really? I want to be very clear. You've talked to him and said, Dick Monfort, will you double your payroll, sir? And he's given you a reasoned rationale of why he can't do that? Or are you just taking his word for it, that they can only spend $80 million or whatever? I don't know. I think fans have such a warped perception. This is maybe arguably the conceit of this podcast, is don't just take it from the horse's mouth. When your owner says their hands are tied, it's a small market. They're billionaires. They are worth billions of dollars. Every single one of them. Except for maybe the Diamondbacks owner?
Yeah, the Diamondbacks owner is technically not listed as a billionaire. And you know who else is not listed?
Kenny Ken, that's who it is.
You know who else is not technically listed as a billionaire?
Who?
I'm almost loath to say it because it's going to hurt our argument, but Atanasio. I honestly think it's less about the owner's personal self-worth, because I think we should actually shed the idea. I think it's a little bit of a misconception that because the owner is rich, they're going to spend more money. I think there's one example.
Sure.
There's one example of
Yes.
ownership, and there's more throughout history, but currently in baseball, there's one example of an owner having a lot of personal money and using it, and it's Steve Cohen. And everyone wants to clown the Mets for failing.
And Dave Rubenstein says he's going to any day now.
He's just waiting for the right guy.
Yo, any day now.
Well, if you think about it, he really did his best by bringing in 42-year-old Charlie Morton. Like, you can't fault him for that. Anything could have happened. They could be in the World Series this weekend, for all I know. They could be unnamed team that's playing the Dodgers in the World Series.
That's true. We
Charlie
don't know
Morton
yet.
could have been starting game 1, but sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way, Dave. So, an incredible stray for the Orioles on October 20th. I mean, they've been out of contention for 3 months. So awesome. No, I think that, like, we use that, we're like, oh, they're billionaires, they could be spending more. No. Here's the antidote to the argument.
Yeah, tell it to me.
What's the revenue? Tell us then. Tell us the revenue. If you don't have the money to spend, you would just say so. You would just show me. Because other companies who actually don't have the money to spend would just be like, yeah, I'll show you. I'm bankrupt. Chapter 11. We just talked about this all of last week.
Right.
We don't have the money anymore. We can't pay. We can't afford it.
That's
But
fair.
you know who's going to help us? We're gonna head to our sweet Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam's going to help us. Or in this case, we're going to head to the sweet bank of Rob, and Rob's going to help us. But you know what's not happening? We're not having a bunch of teams going belly up. We're not having a bunch of owners having to sell their team in shame. Like, by the way, the Dodgers did 10 years ago when the McCourts went bankrupt.
Right.
We're not having that.
Interestingly, every baseball team ends the year at exactly 0. I don't know how it happens. No team ever makes any money or loses any money. Except for the Dodgers, who, according to one June Lee, have made back all of Shohei Ohtani's contract and sponsorships. I was like, I saw that, and I was sort of like, but like, really? I'm like, actually, though?
Okay, but I think very few people understand revenue sharing. I think people just think you just keep whatever you get and then you just put it back into the team. Like, bro, no, that's not what's happening. The Pirates, the Marlins, the Brewers are getting revenue sharing checks of like 50 mil. And then you add that on top of their local TV. That's another, I don't know, in the worst case scenario, another 30 million plus that fat $40 million. Or what's the cut of the annual TV deal, the national TV deal? I mean, every team is starting before they open the gates for one single game. They are starting over $100 million in revenue.
Yes, correct.
Just from waking up.
Just from existing.
I got out of bed. I'm not dead. I have $100 million this year. That's it. That's it. And the Brewers, they reined it in this year, $123 million. So you're telling me they didn't bring in $23 million more of sponsorships, of radio money, radio ads, of in-stadium ads, of tickets. How much were your hot dogs, Brewers fans? How much were your beers? Were they free? Or did you pay for them? They made more than $23 million more dollars.
Right. Yes,
they just did.
correct.
They just did. In fact, I think they probably made, I would guess, $100 million more dollars. Maybe even more. Just from basic economics. You could bring on someone to ballpark and do the back of the napkin math. He's a hedge fund guy. He's not losing money. He's not losing money on this deal.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
The hedge fund always wins. Like, have you guys ever seen Wolf of Wall Street? You guys seen that movie? And I'm just like, the Brewers could have signed Juan Soto. Put Juan Soto's whole ass contract on the Brewers books.
Mm-hmm.
They're fine.
Yep.
But they won't do it because they don't think that you think that they have to. And so they don't. And they do all this other shit because it's cheaper, and they don't care if they win. They care if they get close enough to keep you to buy tickets next year. The Dodgers clearly care if they win because their business model is one that we don't see that often anymore, which is we think we're going to win, and we think we're going to win big, and we think we are going to become Yankees West. We've only ever seen a couple teams try to do this, and the Steinbrenner Yankees are probably the only successful example because they are the only example of a team that has done it time and time again, year in, year out. We just make a shit ton of money and we spend a shit ton of money. And then by the end of it, guess what? We have an asset that's worth $10 billion.
Ownership, or rather, more specifically, I think front offices love this idea of surplus value at the bottom of the pay scale, right? As if you can get a guy for $1 million who you think is going to produce value worth $2 million, that's amazing. You do that in a heartbeat. If you have a guy that you can acquire for $500 million who is going to generate $1 billion for you, no chance you do that. And I'm not saying that you or I don't do that, but they just don't view those things the same way. The idea that signing someone like Juan Soto or Shohei Ohtani or whoever is going to generate outsized returns for you, both on the field. I think Shohei Ohtani is underpaid for what he's contributing to the Dodgers, and in all.
Would you say
the
he's
sort
underrated too?
I would say he is properly rated at this point. But it's much more fun to nibble around the margins, right? And say, well, I'll throw a few dollars this guy's way and see what happens, rather than say, I'm going to make the huge splash because I know I'm generating that return on this. It's less fun, and it's easier for them to say there's more at risk there. But like at the end of the day, it's Shohei Ohtani, it's Juan Soto. And like we're coming back to these examples because they're recent free agent marquee players. But I don't know, man. I keep coming back to someone like Billy Beane and all that he has wrought on our good sport. You know?
Here's the other thing that people don't understand when they get all up in arms about not having enough money to sign Juan Soto. Couple things. One, most of these owners just insure these contracts. Like most of these owners take out loans against these contracts to pay it. They don't pay it with their own money. Half of the time, they don't even pay it with the franchise's money. But let's just pretend, for example, let's pretend that the Brewers are breaking exactly even.
Paying through it via Findlay, really, is what they're doing.
Let's pretend that the Brewers are breaking exactly even. There was no profit margin on any of those concessions that they sent or any of the tickets that they sold. And that all of the TV revenue went exactly to the players on the roster. Okay. Let's pretend they wanted to pay Juan Soto $50 million to bring him to the team. Just exactly 50 for a round number. Or if you want, let's pretend they want to pay him $100 million per year to come to the Brewers. Do you know what they're going to do? Mark Attanasio is not going to go to his checking account and wire Juan Soto $100 million. Mark Attanasio is going to go to JP Morgan and Chase, and he's going to say, hello, JP Morgan and Chase. Can I have $100 million per year? I'm going to put up my other asset against it, which, by the way, is the Milwaukee Brewers, a team, a business, a corporation that is so protected by the federal government that it is the safest possible bet that you can make financially. Nothing will happen to this baseball team without a full societal collapse. Nothing will happen to lower the value of this franchise without total societal collapse. And so JP Morgan and Chase is going to say, that's a super easy thing for us to do. We give you $100 million and we get $3 million back for free. And then we get to put our money over there and it shows up as an expense on our balance sheet so that our profit at the end of the year looks like $100 million less, even though we know we're getting $103 million back in 5 years or 10 years or whatever. And then you, Mark Attanasio, you owe them $3 million for Juan Soto's $100 million in 2025. That seems like pennies compared to the fact that you sold your team for an extra $4 billion or $3 billion or whatever you sell it for, that profit margin. That's basic math. It's multiplicative. But nobody who's talking about salary caps cares about any of this stuff. They're just like, well, they just don't have as much money as the Dodgers, so they're never going to win.
Look, I barely even care about this stuff. I'm just like, we get so...
The money's free to the owners.
They
get free money.
They literally print money. It does not matter.
Money with their own money. They don't use their own money. They don't use their own money at all. Nobody uses their own money except Steve Cohen. Steve Cohen uses his own money. Every other team doesn't use their own money. They use someone else's money. It's money laundering. It's corporate money laundering for free. That's what it is. That's baseball.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and we have luckily,
Nobody
team
wanted
like
to hear
the-
my rant about debt servicing, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I know,
Nobody
I
wanted.
know.
They didn't come for the debt servicing rant, and now they're here at the net present value rant, wondering how we got here. It's because you didn't listen to the fucking debt servicing section of the CBA. You didn't listen to how Rob Manfred doesn't enforce the rules of the CBA about debt servicing, and he doesn't hold teams like Milwaukee or teams like Baltimore or whoever to account for the fact that they have too much debt compared to how much they're bringing in. He just keeps covering the loans for them, man.
I know. Well, and this is where I do feel very blessed that we have a baseball team who is nominally, like, publicly traded, and so whose financials we actually have insight into, right? And so we can look and say, wow, the Brewers netted $30 million in Q2. That's a lot of money.
You mean the Braves?
The Braves, yes. Some might say the Brewers as well. But it's just, okay, you have a baseball team who is regularly putting out financial filings that show they are making money off of the sport of baseball. Now, granted, the Braves are very good at that. I'm not going to assume that they're building a battery around PNC Park or Miller.
It's just not called that anymore, but I don't care enough to Google what it
same.
is.
Okay, cool.
American Family Field. We just talked about this.
Fuck, God damn it.
Damn.
Busted. Turns out we actually recorded this podcast before last week's episode as well. I don't know, man. It's so goofy. I just wanted to say, we have spent all of this review of the Dodgers Brewers NLCS series without really talking about Shohei Ohtani putting up the greatest single game performance in baseball history.
I thought David Freese was better.
That's a name. That's a name right there.
I thought 2013 Pedroia had a little edge on Shohei Ohtani.
Christ. Pedroia, God.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. He was in such a big slump at the plate. He looked so bad. He was striking out left and right. Ugly swings. I mean, ugly swings for Ohtani.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't even matter when it really came down to it. I mean, these pitches that he hit out, like, were low and in. Like, they were not. The one was down.
They were not
the middle.
meatballs. Yeah.
The one was a hanger, but the first two were low and in, not bad pitches. I mean, what do you do with it? He gets the bat to the ball just with ferocity. I mean, he swings it like he's mad at it. Also, I know I said this earlier in the season that Ohtani, since coming to the Dodgers, has gotten sneaky swaggy. He's pimping home runs.
Mm-hmm.
He's bat flipping. He's yelling when he comes off the mound. And some Angels fans, maybe rightly, were like, you probably just weren't watching enough Ohtani on the Angels. Like, he did stuff like this. And I'm like, yeah, but not really. You know,
right.
No, I was watching Ohtani on the Angels, and he would celebrate sometimes. And not even trying to do Dodgers exceptionalism, which I'm perfectly fine to be accused of because I do quite frequently. But he is clearly more emotive on the Dodgers. Yeah, I mean, what are we going to say that everyone else hasn't said already? Do you want to talk about that guy from WFAN who was like, I'm not interested in Ohtani?
Yeah.
He leaves me cold.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Me either.
Well, sorry, just looking at my show notes here.
Is that show SHO?
Mm-hmm.
Notes?
Nice. We hit it all. Do you want to talk about that weird double play that happened a week ago?
Nope.
Okay,
nope.
Good.
I want to go watch Game 7 of the ALCS, which we already watched, but I'm going to go watch.
It's over, yes.
Yeah, it's over, but I'm going to go watch it. Okay, best of luck to our friends in Camp Toronto. And I suppose best of luck to our friends in Camp Los Angeles. I just received a text message from another Blue Jays friend of mine that says, it will be an honor to get our ass kicked by Ohtani.
Wow, That's amazing. Also, I love just staring at Jordan Schusterman's face on national TV, just interviewing. So it was just a camera just on him interviewing some Blue Jays player.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So we are going to beat them up to get our pod up.
We are. Here,
That man's
yeah.
still on the field talking to players. We got the leg up. This is what happens when you're not a real journalist. You can do real journalism in the form of podcasts.
Oh, he's talking to the players. Oh, okay.
What to learn? What, that they wanted to see the ball and hit the ball? We already knew that.
That they're really proud of their boys.
My condolences to Jordan. It must suck to watch your team get bounced and then have
That's
to go interview
really
the other
brutal.
team. And also to Jake, who we took straight shots at both his two favorite teams, the Baltimore Orioles and the Philadelphia Phillies.
That's
Thanks for listening. I don't exactly know what our content plan is going to be to cover the World Series. Maybe we might give you a little mini preview episode before Friday's game 1. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, thanks for listening. Bye.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex Rodriguez. Tipping pitches.
Tipping pitches.
This is the one that I love the most.
Tipping pitches.
So we'll see you next week. See ya!